it's almost like, when you meet Arjun Rampal, your life as you've seen it flashes by you. How you were growing up, what you wanted to think the perfect man looked like, then how he switched over, what the kind of roles that he picked, moved away from doing what everyone thought he should do to the kind of roles. When I first saw Chakraview, I remember 2012, I walked away, I said, yeah, this was so well balanced. Then you'll walk through a Daddy and now London Files. It's amazing. I've also taken you through a journey, but you've taken us on a journey forever. Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
No, it's always a pleasure being with you, man.
But you are so, absolutely opposite to what people think you should be like, especially in the last 10, 12 years. You have done roles, you have picked things, you have produced things that they didn't think that you'd want to do.
Right.
Was that something that you got sick of, the really good-looking / chocolate boy tag, and so you moved away from that?
It's nothing like that. I just think sometimes people think for you. They don't know what's going on in your head.
Yeah.
What was going on in my head goes on in my head, and what was going on in my head is what kind of translated into the stuff that I wanted to do. And that's it. It's nothing like, I wanted to...
Is convincing tougher because it happened a lot where...
No, people get surprised. I mean, of course, there's a lot of surprise that comes with it because people have a preconceived notion about you and they say, oh no, but you shouldn't be doing this. Yeah. We don't see you in this.
Yeah.
And then when you go and you speak to them and you talk to them and they were like, wow, man, that's a great idea. Let's do it. And so it just takes a little bit of convincing and a little bit of explaining yourself as to why you want to do it and how you're going to do it. And I think if you get that kind of level of clarity to somebody you want to partner with or who's going to be a part of your team to execute something, then it becomes, it's okay.
Has that been hastened also by OTT? Because the audience is infinite now.
Yeah.
Earlier, can the film be mounted? Will they accept in this kind of bit? Now, they don't know themselves what will be accepted.
Yeah.
The audience is fantastic. I mean, they've pretty much made a level playing field.
I think what happened was, if one had to kind of analyze that aspect of how did this transition happen, would be because there was a lot of exposure and audience got to world cinema, world entertainment. It was easily accessible if it was via the internet, if it was via cable TV, if it was via your set-top boxes, which had come in at a point in time, and now if it is through OTT.
Yeah.
So the audience has changed.
Yeah.
And that's what we were always trying to do. But nobody wanted to pay for an education.
Yeah. True.
It was as simple as that.
Especially in India, everything is free.
Yeah.
They don't want to pay.
No, and especially a producer, a person, a financer, whatever. He's not going to say, okay, go educate the audience, take so much money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is that how am I getting my money back? And it's a business, and they look at it like that, and it still is a business, but it is, who are you catering to? And the great part is, like what we were discussing even earlier, like you were saying, like how you've got content which is even, from 30 years down, which you think, okay, who would want to watch that?
True.
But there's a market there.
Yes.
There is a market for everything. It's about how you get it to that person there today.
A lot of the times, the 13 to 20 generation doesn't know much.
No.
They re-educate. Okay, so they see. What's the one thing that most pops up onto your social media timelines or your team finds out where they remember Arjun Rampal most by?
Nice question. I don't know actually.
The roles. I'll tell you recently.
Really?
Like I was floored in the recent past with Daddy, and I don't know. I think we met before that. We never got to meet after that. It was just unreal how you made that. How it was just fantastic. I remember people used to talk about Once Upon a Time in Mumbai.
Yeah.
They never spoke because I think not that much happened after that. You didn't like stay that much in the zone of public eye after Daddy. Daddy was incredible. So my generation followed that, my team followed that a lot. Was that also one of those things where you said, this is really cool for me? Did you enjoy that experience?
Yeah, totally. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done it. You know, I mean, it was a great story. We had a great director in Osham who had a great vision for it, and you know what he brought to the table is something which it'll be a part which I can always say, wow, you know, that's something I did. It's a film which I did, which is really, really special. And I think what it did for a lot of people, which makes me the happiest, is there were a lot of young people who were just starting off their careers,
Yeah.
who came in, you know, if it was from a level of art direction, you know, which is the whole production design, it was the costumes, if it was the makeup, you know, all those departments were relatively very new people. If there was the cinematographers, you know, I mean not Pankaj shot a bit of it, but you know, there was this Canadian DOP who we'd gotten, and she got a lot of work. Okay, all these guys got really, really busy. Everybody started calling me and said, "Who did you use? Who was your production designer? Who's your this? Who's your that?" I said, "यार, तुम सबको काम दे रहे हो, मेरा क्या?"
But did you feel like getting headlong into making more like that?
I mean, I will. You know, after Daddy, I was looking after my mom and she wasn't well, so that's why I kind of also stepped away from concentrating on my work that much. And then we started working, and when I started working again, there was a pandemic.
Yeah.
So, but fortunately, God's been kind. You know, things are very good now. I've done a lot of good work and banked a lot of work, which is now slowly going to keep releasing. London Files is very recent. It was something, though, we discussed over a year and a half before we went in to shoot it. And so there was a lot of time to prepare, which is what you like to do. You don't want to just jump into anything.
And film sometimes can hasten the process of enjoying the character because only 2 hours or maybe 2.5 hours. Series give you a little more time, don't they?
You know, it's a process. There are two different processes. Series, you can really walk out saying, okay, you know, there are no excuses here. You know, you really have to make sure you are in character right through, okay, and that you have
The arc is
seen the
perfect,
arc,
yeah.
you know, right through, and performed it on that level, and it's extremely satisfying. With film, there is an arc as well, but yes, you don't have that much time. It's a limited time, but a minute on screen is a long time.
Yeah.
You know, just a minute. You're talking about 2 hours. And so that's 120 minutes, from which maybe you're there for even 40 minutes. It's a long time. What do you do in that 40 minutes? You know, it really depends on the story, the screenplay, you know, the way the character is. And then there is a lot of work that goes in, at least for me, to create those backstories for that character before you go on to play him. So what he does and all of that, it will look fine. People don't need to know his backstory, but you know it, and therefore
Helps in mannerisms, helps in
your
everything.
emotion. It's just the feel. You know, if you don't feel it, I don't think people will get it.
I've lived on detective stories, you know, so from Poirot to Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
It's always one of those, you know. To Chacha Chaudhary also, you know.
Really?
I love it, man. I love watching Sabu. Did you have were you like an inquisitive kid?
I would be scared of detectives. I was that kid. I hope they don't find out. I hope they don't find out. So I had to be like smarter than them.
Yeah.
Which makes me a really good detective now. Yeah, I mean, I like detective stories. I really enjoy watching them as well. I've loved True Detectives. I loved Sherlock Holmes, you know. So it's a different headspace. But the cool part about playing this detective was that I have never come across a detective story like this. He's a dysfunctional detective. He's got problems.
He's not perfect like they all think.
No, he's not only perfect. He's on the wrong side of the law also.
Yeah.
You know, he is addicted. You know, to his medication. He is depressed, He is almost a borderline kind of a junkie in a way. Okay, and so he doesn't know. He's not working with the level of clarity a detective really works with.
Detectives in London can't get better with the suits as well, right? When you go to London, when you walk down, just fantastic clothes also. Even if a trench coat is mandatory.
मुझे तो ये सब मिला ही नहीं है
नहीं, एक कोट तो मिला था ट्रेलर में है ना, कोट तो है ना.
कोट दिया था उसने एक
अच्छा एक ही है.
एक ही कोट है उसकी and all his clothes are he's not into clothes.
Yeah.
This guy, he is a person who's stuck in a time warp. So all the wardrobe that we did for him actually was quite interesting. I decided that after a point he mustn't have bought anything. So
'Cause you couldn't be
actually he is dressed like how you would dress in the 90s.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's the backstory work you're doing on this?
Yeah.
Wow.
So actually he goes back and he doesn't buy clothes. He doesn't wear, the nice thing.
Yeah.
Everybody else is.
Yeah.
They all are like that. So when he walks in, he's got those pleated pants. He's got that jacket which is oversized.
Yeah.
Okay, he's wearing the same tie most probably he wore at that point in time. And that's how he goes to work. But
So like an absent-minded professor.
yeah, but he's not, it's not that underlined again because I didn't want to do that. So it's clean.
Yeah.
He's a clean guy. He's not messy. He's not, I didn't want him, like people, sometimes you watch a character and you think, oh, that guy must be smelling really bad in real life, But he isn't that guy.
Yeah.
He is just a loner.
Yeah.
He's isolated himself. And in that process, the chaos begins within him. The chaos is within him. And he has to try to silence that.
There's sometimes when you play characters which are very chaotic, as an actor, you're just very excited with each scene because there's so much to do in that. And of course, because when you're the centerpiece of a story, there's a lot to do. Do you ever get overawed sometimes by whether you're pulling it off? Is there like, a check that you
Constantly.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's and that's where what I was talking about, Salil, was if you don't feel it,
Yeah.
you don't know if you're getting it right, and sometimes you feel it, and then you're like, but did that person feel it? Was it too subtle? Was it too much? Thing. But that's where the director comes in,
Yeah.
and I think Sachin was such a blessing on this film. Because from an emotional point of view, he gets it. He gets it more than any of us would ever get it.
Of course.
Because as an actor, you kind of invest just in that character so much. He's investing in the whole show. He's investing in your whole graph. He's investing in all the other characters and what these actions are going to have in the next scene. So if the minute somewhere I would feel, no, I think I should need to express a bit more, he'd be like, wait. That point is where you will do it.
Yeah.
So he did guide me on that level, and it was fun, and that's why it's great when you do a show and then you are doing it on a start to finish.
Yeah.
That also helps. You've already spoken so much about it before.
Yeah.
We went on to location, so we knew exactly what we were going to do.
Are you sometimes a nagging actor with the director? Tell me more. A little bit more here and there. Would you be that kind of actor? Or
I hope I'm not, but
Yeah?
that you'll have to ask them.
I will actually.
Yeah, you should.
But you're actually very true to the picture. I'll tell you, not everybody saw this film back in 2012, Chakravyuh, and I mentioned at the beginning of this. I remember watching that film and saying the acting was so balanced. That was when a director's done a brilliant job.
Yeah.
What talking.
But that's also Prakash Jha.
Yeah,
there,
agreed.
You know
but,
what I mean?
but that's also you doing exactly what the director wants you to do.
Yeah.
A lot of actors will want to do what they want to do as well
Yeah.
to push a character across. And I remember discussing with a friend of mine saying that he sits so perfectly in the scheme of things, which is very tough. Back in those days, in Bollywood, when you wanted to also see
It's so strange you're talking about this film. I've been in Punjab shooting right now.
Right.
And I have met so many people who've only spoken about Chakravyuh.
Yes, I loved it.
Yeah.
And I went in with very few expectations. I wasn't sure. But it sat so well. And that's the day I realized, I said, I don't think you get enough credit for your performances sometimes. Yes, they talk about a rock-on.
That's very kind of you,
But it's true. I think they'll talk about a rock-on. You'll get the awards there, because it becomes popular. But I feel that sometimes, do you feel that it's not about the trophies in the cabinet, but have I got those 7 stars from the people?
It's not. See, if you kind of start thinking like that, I don't know. You're going to make yourself very miserable. So you can't think for other people. They have their own thought processes. You do what you do best, and you leave it. After a point, you got to just detach from it and go away. And I think what happens with it is when you do good work or whatever, it never goes unnoticed on whatever level. People wait to give you that opportunity, I believe, when they have something to give it to. Because when they have to come to somebody to do it, that's when okay, fine, this is that body of work, those sacrifices of saying yes to this movie and saying no to that film, now this is the payback for that. And you get that. I think I'm getting it now.
Last 2 years has been very busy for most actors.
Yeah.
Are you shocked at how busy everyone is? And
I think this is the busiest any of us have been in our careers. It's great. But it can also burn you out. So you have to be careful again how you tread. But yes, there's some great stuff being done. I can say that I'm part of quite a bit of it, and London Files being one. And then there's Dhakad. There's a film now with Honey which I was shooting. Then I shot 2 films with Abbas Mastan.
Wow.
Penthouse, 3 Monkeys, and I'm doing this period film called The Battle of Bhima Koregaon. And
Jesus,
I did
that's
The
like a lot.
Rapist with Aparna Sen,
Yes, I read
which
about
went
that.
and won Best Film at Busan Film Festival. So so there's.
I think those 7 stars are coming now. In the next 2 years. I cannot stop this interview without my money shot question. Whenever actors get really busy, back in the day we used to hear, you up and up and up and up the price. Does that happen now with so much competition? Are you able to up and up and up and up the price?
I mean, the money is good. You can't complain about that. But I mean, if you start just doing it for the money, I feel, I mean, it has to be good for you to do it. But
But has negotiation...
it's easier.
The kinds, yeah. I was
It's
just
much
gonna say.
easier. I mean, I don't think people haggle that much, I mean, thank God they don't look at us as potatoes and onions anymore. अरे नहीं यार, 2 रुपए के नहीं यार,
Actually, that's
1 रुपए का दे दो, या 1.5 रुपए में दे दो. So, I mean, they're looking for talent, and if they want talent, today people have the money. They're seeing the business, they're seeing the return on their investments, and you got to also be realistic about those things.
I think it's working very well with Arjun Rampal. He just gave me a list of films that I'm looking at saying that we're sitting in 2024 right now. Or maybe 5 also. Because that's the kind of releases that's going to happen, which is great. Because I think the 2 years that people are sitting at home and worried about Corona, everyone else was really busy. So it's going to make a lot of people very jealous in the coming years. Thank you so much, sir, for joining me.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Same,
and
man.
I hate the fact that you always look so good all the time. It's great and it's
But
fantastic.
you look great too.
Yeah.
I hate that fact too.
It's always so gracious. Take care and see you soon.